Welcome all, Boone here from EWPRO, getting straight into the weekly outlook, looking at the DXY on the daily time frame. Nothing's changed for quite a while. We're looking for this C down here, and there's still possibly more downside on the daily time frame. H4, we had 3 up in here. Well, on the H4, we had the 5 down, we had 3 up, and we got 1 down in here, impulse down. So if we get a correction in here, you could look for more downside down to this 100 fib, but you definitely want to be at break even at the break of this low, or if you're on the lower time frames, this low here, if you get an entry. AU on the daily, looking for more upside. We're just waiting for a correction on the lower time frame, and we're getting, it's looking very corrective, but like I mentioned last week, it can become more complex, and it looks like that's what's happening here. Last week I was, the second count was like 1, 2, sorry, we got like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we can get 3 or 5 down in here for a complex correction, like I mentioned last week, before it goes. And at this stage, that's what it looks like. You may get a sell in here. Just look for 3 down for a 333. But yeah, I'd be more interested in the buy once we get 3 or 5 down in here. I'd be looking for a buy on the lower time frames to buy, possibly up to that daily 100 fib. Wait for my internet to kick in. Here we go. GU, nothing's changed on the daily. We're looking for this 100 fib up here. And like I've been mentioning, it may even turn motive and get up to the 161.8. We don't know. Or it may be complete here. We already have an A, a B, and a C. The C, wave C, is broken ending point of wave A. So it may even be over here. But looking at the lower time frames, like I've been going over in these weekly outlooks, we can get a flat in here. We had the 5 up on the H4. We had a sharp move down, and then we got 3 up in here. So last week I was explaining we can still get a flat down here before we get another 5 up. So you could, it's very dangerous to scalp this C down at this stage, because there is a possible bull hidden in here, and this may go up and break this top one more time. There's a bull hidden in here. Yeah, it's, I mean, at the moment it's more bullish in here. You could look for 3 up in here, and then it either goes up and breaks the top and the bull hidden plays out, or you just get 3 up in here and then more downside for that C down, like I was showing on the H4. EU on the daily, this one's very similar to GU and AU. Nothing's changed on the daily. I'm looking for this 100 fib possibly. On the lower time frame, H4, there still is a chance that we get more upside. We had the 5 up in here. We lost all the divergence. We got a correction down in here. This may even turn more more complex yet, and we get like an A, B, C in here, and then we get another one down as a regular flat, or it may turn, may go and break this top in 3 waves and give you a running or expanding flat. But at this particular time, it's really more bullish, but you have to be very careful here. I mean, we already had the bearish divergence in there between the tops. Impulse down. This again may turn more complex, and we just get 3 up in here, another one down, giving us a flat, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, larger correction, and then another 5 up. So yeah, it's really just scalping at the moment on most of the time, most of the currencies or instruments. NU, I'm looking for that A, B, C. So I'm still looking for more upside. It's very similar to the others. There is a chance that these turn very complex, like I showed last week. Like we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We can get 1, 2, 3, or 5 down in here for a complex correction before we get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or at least 3 up. So again, we still can get 3 down in here. Yeah, I'm not convinced that this correction is over yet. Exactly like I mentioned last week. So yeah, nothing's really changed. GY, looking for a little bit more upside, possibly up to this 100 fib for an A, B, C before we get an A, B, C, larger correction. Have to be very careful here now. There's really not a buy setup on it. I'd be waiting for a larger correction. Like we got like sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up in here. We lost the divergence, and this can be more of a complex correction in here too. To give us a larger correction, like 5, 3, and then we get more upside. So again, like the others, you have to be very careful. It's really just scalping, and if you get onto the buy, I'm more interested in a buy because we don't have any divergence there, and there is a bull hidden here too. But it never went and broke the top, so it didn't quite go and break that top, but it was very deep. So since that hasn't, I mean, if we quickly go down onto the lower time frame, it's more bearish on the lower time frame. Well, it's more on the M15, but like it's pretty much already played out because we already have bullish divergence in there, but we got an impulse down, sort of. This can turn more complex. Get a correction in here, another one down, an A, B, C, and then a bullish setup to buy. So yeah, you may have to be quite patient and wait for a nice setup. UY. This one here I mentioned last week, I'd pretty much be staying out of this. I'm not liking it at this stage because this low here has not been broken over there for an A, B, C. Excuse me. So this one here can become more complex. And yeah, there's just so many different structures it could be. You're really just scalping it. I mean, we never got any bearish divergence in here. We had that bull hidden in here to get another high, but then we lost that divergence. So we got a larger correction. So this may go from here. But we need 3 down in here first on the lower time frames, and then you could look to buy to go and break that top. But yeah, this one here, UY at this stage, I'd pretty much be leaving alone. I mean, there's just so many different ways this could play out. Even on this time frame, there's so many different corrections this could be. Because this one here didn't go down and break the low. So we may get a correction in here for 3 down like I just showed, or this may go and break this low in the 3 waves down and then give you an A, B, C running or expanding flat in there, and then you give you like a larger correction and then an A, B, C. So, there's just so many different corrections at this stage it could possibly be. So, yeah. UCAD, I'm pretty much staying out of. Like I've mentioned many times before, I'm waiting for this time factor. I'm not even going to trade it pretty much until I get this time factor. We got 1, 2, 3. I'm waiting for this time factor here, waiting for a complete correction before I trade it. This wave 4 in here, this wave 4 in here. it's come into the territory of this wave too. So, you know, unless it's an ending diagonal or a leading diagonal or something like that, it's not fitting the Elliott wave rules. So that's why I'm waiting for the time factor before I start to look to trade it. Yeah. Other than that, you're just going down to the lower time frames and scalping it if you wish to. Yeah. We already have bullish divergence on the H4, so yeah, not really interested in. There's no buy set up on it, and we already have bullish divergence on the H4, so I'd be waiting for a bullish setup, but there just isn't anything on there yet. The Swissy, we got that A, B, C, we got that triangle in the middle. Again, this can be quite complex. You know, that's pretty much like we got no bullish divergence in here. We got bounce off the 100 fib here, so you know I'd be looking for this to go and break this low. So I'd be more interested in a sell, and yeah, you're pretty much selling at the bottom of the market. So you're really just scalping at this stage. There's really not much on it at all. You know, even when you go down to the H1, you know, I mean, if anything, I'd be going down to the M15 and scalping it. You know, we got a nice impulse down here. So if you got a correction in here, you could look for, you know, 3 down. It's just scalping on the lower time frames. Unfortunately, many of the currencies, it's pretty much just scalping at this stage. EG, looking for the wave 5 up. But again, this wave 4 here has come into the territory of this wave 2. We are getting a possible ball hidden in here, so I am looking for a buy, but I think we may actually be, yes, I think Friday we did get a buy on here. It may even been Tuesday when we were getting this correction in here. I mentioned in the group, we had a nice, yeah, we had a nice impulse here. And we had a correction in here. So you're either on this or not now because, you know, we've already broken that top. But yeah, I mentioned this in our group. This is the opportunity to get in, and it looks like it's going. You could try and go down to the lower time frames and look for a buy setup in here and just, yeah, get it to break even and see how far it goes. But it's already broken this top here. So, you know, WTI, like I've been saying for quite some time, I'm not convinced this in here is over this wave C like this. I'm looking for this A, B, C, and then we got like an A, B, C in here. So overall, I'm looking to buy. H4, we're still getting that time factor for this wave 4 here, so we still can get that wave 5 down like I've been mentioning. I was a little bit surprised we didn't get another one up in here, and we still can get another one up in here before we get that 5th wave down. I tried a couple of buy trades on this last week. Both of them were break-even trades. So it's something's wrong. It's not going yet. Like I tried to buy in here somewhere for after this correction here, and it just come back, took me out of break even. So a couple of times. So yeah, I mean this still does look corrective to buy. If you get a nice buy setup, you could look to buy, and just for like an A, B, C. And if you're lucky, it takes off and you don't get a wave 5 down. But yeah, if you get a nice setup, you could look for a buy and get it to break even as soon as you can, because this is becoming more complex, this correction in here. Gold, nothing's changed on the daily. I'm waiting for this time factor, and like I've been saying, I'm really waiting for this time factor because, you know, we're right at the top of the market, so you need a nice correction on the daily before you can really start to load up on the buys. Other than that, it's just scalping. On the H4, like I've been mentioning, we got this flat in here, like an A, B, C in here, flat in here. We've got an A, B, C in here. Went a little bit further than I thought. I went down to the 123.6, but that's fine. It's starting to look bullish in here. You could look for a scalp, and it's really, you'd need to get it to break even really quickly, because this can turn more complex. We can get like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 3 or 5 down in here for a more complex correction, filling in that wave 4 on the daily before we get more upside. So yeah, it's more scalping than anything. Silver on the daily, we had the 5 up here. This can be a complete correction, like I've been mentioning. We've got 3 impulse down. That can be the complete correction, and we go up and break the top. This correction here is larger than these, so this one may go and break the top. I think this one looking a lot better than gold at this stage. There was a possible bear hidden on the H4, like I mentioned. We had that possible bear hidden, but we only got 3 down in here, and then there was a bullish setup in here to buy. Now it's still looking bullish in here, so you still could look for another buy, but again, it can turn more complex. Like you can get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 5 or 3 down, and then it goes. So, but yeah, at this stage you could look for a buy, but yeah, you're buying right up the top of the market, and yeah, Bitcoin. This is pretty much played out. Excuse me. We had those 5 up. We lost the divergence. We got a larger correction, and we got a higher high. Now we got the bearish divergence. So once this top was broken, I was saying, you're not looking for buys anymore. There was a nice buy set up right down the bottom here, and that was the one you needed to get in for the buy. Now we're getting a lot of bearish divergence, and you would have got possibly a sell in here to sell. I was only looking for sells up at this top. I said pretty much keep out unless you're on it already. You could look to add to buy, but yeah, it's bearish now, and you've already got 3 down. Well, it's turning motive. Like you got like 1, 2, you're in a wave 3, so you have to wait for a wave 4, and you could trade a wave 5 down. I'd be waiting for that wave 4 and then looking for a complete correction and then looking to sell. S&P 500. I'm looking at this flat here, like I've been mentioning. We got the 5 up, larger correction, nice impulse up. So looking for a correction in here, and then I'll look for a buy. Yeah, we got bearish divergence now, so we got sort of got 5 up in here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bearish divergence. So I'd be waiting for a larger correction before I done anything on this, pretty much. There's no sell set up on it on this time frame, and if you're looking for the sell, you're pretty much selling into a correction. You could look to scalp buys, going with the trend, but once you start to get that bearish divergence, it starts to get risky. I'd be waiting for the larger correction. AU200 is pretty much similar. We got a complete correction in here now on the W1, and we're looking to go and break the top again, like S&P 500. You really need to wait for a correction before we look for a buy. Or else it just gets too dangerous. We're getting bearish divergence on the H4, H1 is the same, all that bearish divergence. So, it starts to get risky, and there is no sell set up on it. So, and like I mentioned, if you are looking for the sell, you're selling into a possible correction. So it could be very choppy selling as well. It's really just scalping. The FTSE, this was pretty surprising, really, but it's pretty much followed what the other indices has done. We got that. We were waiting for this crash, downside, and we got that. There was 2 scenarios. We get 3 down, or Yeah, this has turned motive up in here. So again, just waiting. You really got to wait for this correction before we look to buy. And it's like the other indices. There's nothing to buy yet. You know, we got the bearish divergence, so got to wait for that correction. The FTSE was the exception to the rule with the other indices because, like I mentioned at the time, we had that bull hidden. This was the only one that had that bull hidden, and it's gone up and broken the top. So now, again, we're waiting for a correction. You can't buy right at the top of the market. There's really not much to go over. We got to wait for that correction before we can do anything, really, unless you want to look for a sell selling into the correction. So I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.